There's a fair bit in here. So let's do exactly what I just did before in Visual Studio, just so you know. You go File, New Project. You type in Project Awesome, and you choose this ASP.NET Core Web Application. You'll notice that the icon is wrong. Okay? I know a lot of people would be frightened of VB. I took one of the SSW TV guys, Raj, and we went up the coast, and there was a huntsman in the boot as we left here. There was a huntsman, and he starts screaming. There's a huge huntsman. Oh, he didn't know it was a huntsman. He just knows a big spider. He's from England, so he's very frightened of spiders, and he's English. And so I said, "Oh, don't worry about that." And there was there's a little implement there, so I just got it and I flicked it. He goes, "Where'd it go?" I said, "It went out on the road somewhere." He goes, "I can't see it on the road. Where is it?" "I cannot see it on the road." I said, "I flicked it away." Anyway, he wasn't very convinced, but it was flicked away. Anyway, about 8 hours later, we are coming back down the coast. It's now darkish. And he's sitting in the back. I'm driving. And then the huntsman appears above the window. And it's not moving, he's just sitting there. Well, he starts screaming. I think the amount of screaming caused the huntsman to start walking towards him on the roof. And he's screaming at me to pull over, but I'm going down the freeway. It's only a huntsman, it's not going to kill him. Well, I think he was going to try to get out of the car moving. It's quite scary. Anyway, I don't know why seeing a VB icon reminded me of that story. But some people are very frightened of VB. Anyway, so press OK. We press Web Application. We press OK, and we're in business. This is our project now. This project, if you look at it, is the same as when we went .NET New-TS Web. That's the same project. In fact, if we open it up in VS Code, which we just looked at, it's identical. You can see web.config down the bottom, web.config startup. Now I know at the top it's going to look a little different because Visual Studio puts special fold, it moves things to the top just for user friendliness. And also, you can see over here that special folder that launch.json and task.json are in VS Code. Any special folders that VS Code uses are in that folder. And any ones for VS are in there. But Visual Studio decides to hide those folders. So if we went show all files, we'd see the same stuff, right? All cool? All right. So let's see what the debugging experience is like. You press F5 and you go there. Okay. You're happy, Greg. You don't need any cool tools. Anyway, you're too old to use Visual Studio Code. All right. Yeah. So we come in here, and there's the debugging experience. So now the reason that people use Visual Studio is because it's way richer. If your boss says, "Hey, can you deploy to Azure?" and you think, "I should know what Azure is. I should know how to deploy. How do I do that?" Right-click Publish to Azure. Let's try that. So we click Publish. We choose, what do we choose here? Well, we'll choose this one. Looks right. Azure App Service, I guess so. Click that, create profile. I don't know, looks right. I don't know, create. You press that and bingo, you've just deployed to Azure and you don't even know what you're doing. Now, if you tried to do that in VS Code, you're going to be in all sorts of command prompts trying to find right commands and stuff like that. All right, so there's the reason that people will still love Visual Studio. But the bad thing is all the extra menus everywhere. There's so many menus. If you're doing JavaScript development, you've got a myriad of menus that are nonsensical. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about my first favorite feature, okay? Now I've already told you my favorite feature, which was .NET Core, okay? I think that's the most important for all of us. But this is one that I think is good. Open folder. In VS Code, like every text editor on the planet, you can go File, Open Folder. In Visual Studio, you can now go File, Open Folder. You can open a folder without a solution file or a proj file. Isn't that magical? What an advance. It's amazing. Things that Microsoft come up with. Anyway, so you can open any folder you like now. It supports 20 languages plus. You can do PHP development or Java. You can go and install other workloads, like if you're doing R. If you're doing Power BI and you want to take it to the next level, you could use R or Python or whatever. So just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right. So let me just go through here. So .NET Core, open folder. Let's move on to my next one, which is a quicker installer and a roaming extension manager. Then I want to talk about lightweight solution loading, better Intellisense, better debugging, the JavaScript debugging in Chrome, live unit testing, code styling, and my final stuff is some C# language extensions. Now, I did this talking to many of the guys in SSW, and I will tell you there's a hell of a lot of features there, heaps. I could not get any unison where we agreed on what were the coolest features. So in the end, Tony Abbott would say I did a captain's pick, okay? Donald Trump would say he did an executive order. So I've just gone and picked a few of my favorites, but be aware there's a hell of a lot more. So I'm going to go with the quicker installer. It's a very nice, quick experience. You just go, and within a minute, you're up and running. You choose a workload. Now, I don't really know if I love this UI, but is it obvious to you that I've turned on this one, this one, this one? Like, I think it should be clearer, but personally, you got these little ticks. So everybody's going to go with web development and probably Azure. As you choose these, you look at the right and see what you're getting. I think the thing I would first care about, that I'm getting .NET Core. That would be the first thing I'm checking. Am I getting that with the options I'm choosing? Anyway, you can scroll down here. You can see there's a massive menu. There's heaps of things. You'd probably take mobile development with Xamarin. You might want to take Cordova as well. Take that. And you can see what you're grabbing. If you're doing a Visual Studio extension, you take that, etc., etc. And they're workloads. And there's heaps of them. There's more and more coming. So they're just a grouping of components. You might, if you're a universal Windows platform developer or a desktop developer, you'd want certain stuff, or an Azure developer or a web developer. Can I just ask, how many people here are the first type and the second type and the third? Who's a desktop developer or universal Windows platform? Wow, 60% of the room at least, maybe 70. Who's an Azure developer? Okay, a third. Who is a web developer? 80%. All right, cool. Great. So I think I can say that this request with 1,900 votes is done. Okay? There's still probably more work to do to make it slightly faster, but it's a big improvement. Okay. Who's happy with that one? Yeah. Okay. So almost all of you. So let's talk about the next one. I thought some people wouldn't care about it actually, because it's faster, that's good. Anyway, getting up and running on a new machine. You get a fresh PC, you install Visual Studio, it's quicker now, unless you choose everything, it's still going to be slow. You reinstall your favorite extensions, such as ReSharper, such as the ones you can't remember. You got, the productivity power tools and Web Essentials and all these type of things. So right now we have a new roaming extensions manager. So it will tell you, these are the ones, and you just take them. So just to be clear, in 2015, we already got settings. It would pull down our settings, our themes, our text editor, and all the Team Explorer settings. All our visualstudio.com projects and stuff. So all those settings we got. Now in 2017, we get the extensions added to it. So it kind of rounds that out a little. Okay? All right. So let's talk about the next one. And this is where you open up your project in the morning. It's a massive project with, who's got more than 50 projects in their solution? Oh, a few. Who's got more than 100? One. Is it 100? Close to 100. All right. Okay. He's American. They do everything big in America, don't you? Yes, everything's big and better than everyone else's. Huh? With the comb over. So, all right. So I did a test on this new feature. We have a project called Visual Studio. We have a project called sswtimepro.com, and it's a timesheeting solution we've had out there. A number of people use this for their timesheets. We've been developing since forever. It started off in Windows forms. You would remember it, Greg, wouldn't you? Yes. Well, then it went to web forms, then it went to MVC and now Angular. And it's got lots and lots of projects in there. It's got 39 projects. So this might be similar to some of your projects. Let's see what so when I opened it in 2015, which was already faster than 2012, it's 11 seconds to load and 36 seconds to load the solution. Now, I should be clear, this is on a Surface Book with a super fast SSD. This is a this is i7, the top of the line Surface Book. Okay. Now, I mention this because some guys here, if they're not, some of them are, not on SSDs and things like that. Well, hopefully everyone's on an SSD, but they're not on machines as fast as this, and they load slower than this. In 2017, for me, it loaded 5 seconds, and then the project loaded in 26 seconds. So that's faster, right? Happy? Better. So then there's this setting which you can turn on called lightweight solution load. So I turned this guy on and I did it again. Okay, so we already went through this, 11 seconds 36 and 5 seconds 26. So that was 55% faster and 27. I want to see if this setting made it any faster. And when I turn that on, same load time. But the solution loaded in 15 seconds. So they're both around 55% and 58% faster. Now, how does this thing work? Well, it seems to just do this lazy loading of projects. So when you click on one of these projects, it then goes off and loads it. Okay, so it's like Ajax for your Solution Explorer. All right. So they've got this item on user voice, and it says 1,400 votes. I'm going to say done. Who cares about this? Who gives this one a gold star? Got it. Okay, 3/4 of the room is happy. Okay. And why aren't you happy, Greg? You're very hard to make happy. Where's the mic?
It's not good enough. It's not good enough improvement.
Oh, you want faster?
Yeah. For what it's doing, I feel it should be able to be much faster than what I'm seeing there.
Okay, all right. Get a faster machine. All right.
Fair comment.
Okay. So, while we're talking about performance, sometimes we have our Visual Studio hang and it goes kind of whitish while we're waiting for it to do things. Very frustrating, especially when you don't know the source. That's all you want to know. Like, can you imagine running Windows without Task Explorer? I think that's one of the first things I open. I'm always wondering what's going on. So, if you have dodgy coffee, you know how to solve that? There's an app called Bean Hunter. Who's got Bean Hunter? One guy. Gee. Who loves their coffee? All of you. You need Bean Hunter. Okay, it's a great app. All the guys in Melbourne use Bean Hunter. Now all the guys in Brisbane use it. We just need the guys in Sydney use it. Dodgy VS extensions. What do we do about that? Well, Chrome has a task manager, okay, which I don't, I can have 50 tabs open in Chrome and 6 open in IE, and IE hangs on me. I don't know if this happens to you guys. It's damn frustrating. Anyway, we need one of these in IE. So we now have this new menu option, Manage Visual Studio Performance. I don't know why it's in the Help menu. Please tell me why. I expect to find the Tools menu. That is a weird location. But anyway, there it is, Manage Visual Studio Performance. I don't know how they choose this. But anyway, so one of the things that I'll be interested to find out from you guys, which ones do you have problems with? Do you end up having problems with ReSharper? I think ReSharper will be grateful because I think they get the blame too often. But anyway, so this one, 1,700 votes, I say done. Who cares about this? Who gives this a gold star? Okay, less than 1/4 of the room. Let's move on. Okay, better Intellisense refactoring and code analysis. Let's see if you like this stuff. So we've got camel case matching and Intellisense and match highlighting. So look at here. We are we're going to open something. What are we doing here? var new ETS. Now that isn't a method name, but see how I picked it up?
That's good.
Yeah. And also at the top of Intellisense, it doesn't just show everything in alphabetical order, it shows the most recent ones at the top. So that's kind of better. Also, we have this filtering. Watch this. So not only do we have this, we type time, and then we can click on, say, the interfaces. So even though we haven't typed iTime, it will still find it because we've got all these buttons at the bottom for interfaces, classes, you know, all different options. So they're the filters in the Intellisense. So hopefully that's a bit nicer. Code analysis. Code analysis starts helping us with all the new C#7 language features, which I'll come to later. There's lots of cool stuff there. I would say there's a mountain of Intellisense and refactoring and code analysis stuff. That is a request with 1,000 votes. I'm going to say kind of half done because you still need resharper if you want to do things. I'll consider this done when you don't need resharper. Okay? So, number 6, better debugging in DevOps. Now, the first one I want to show you is run to click. So, who's used run to click? Anyone? Not a soul. Okay. So there's also a new exception helper, which I think you'll like, and better null references, attach to process, reattach, go to all, better find all references, and CodeLens, one of my favorite features with integration into App Insights. So here is how traditional debugging worked. Traditional debugging, we set temporary breakpoints. We would then hit F10, 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 step over, go into places of code we didn't mean to, step out, you know. So, something like this. We come in here, there's our breakpoint, F10, 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 and my F10 finger's getting tired. Okay, so, and then F5, and then we go through, etc. All right, so you kind of see how that works. F10, 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 yeah, it's just boring. So run to click. How does this work? So if you ever forget to clean up your breakpoints you set, does that happen to people? Yeah. As you hover over, it will show you, you'll be able to set, oh, I want a breakpoint there. And it just runs to that point instantly. So let's watch this. So you come in here, you click run to that point. And you can see things. So it's pretty simple. So we run down there, run to that point, please. We look at and we inspect all the variables. So you just click. I guess for those people that are always using keystrokes, this might not be as attractive, but because you're kind of using your mouse. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yep.
Yes. So what would happen if you use run to click on a statement that wasn't going to be hit in that particular run?
Well, it's not going to hit.
Then it'll just quit.
I don't think it actually allows you.
It can't.
No, it can't. No. So you're right. So it's just not going to hit it. Yeah. Hold it, Mike. To the front.
And how is it different from the old Control F10?
Well, a lot of people didn't. You're talking about run to cursor?
Yeah.
Yes. I think that wasn't a well-known feature, actually. How many people use run to cursor? Okay. So, you know. So I don't think it was on the right-click menu. It was in.
It was.
Oh, was it on the right-click menu? Yeah. So it wasn't a heavily used feature. So now it's in. Now it's in here. I think I already asked Microsoft, by the way. The stats show even in the betas, this feature is way more used than that run to click. All right. So let me just explain to you. Now, if your wife, if she goes shopping for a pair of jeans at Westfield or something, so this is her route to get to the shop she's trying to get to. She goes in here, buys something, comes here, through Macy's, through here. Okay, so she ends up buying that pair of pants or that dress, but it takes 3 hours, 26 minutes and costs $800. Okay, now if the bloke goes in to buy that pair of pants, he takes 6 minutes and $33. Okay, now this is very similar to the traditional debugging approach, and this is run to click. Okay, now we could have used this for Bunnings, couldn't we? And it'd be the reverse way around. Yes. Anyway, so summary: run to click. No more hitting F10, F10, F10. You just click to where you want, and it jumps to it. So who loves this? Who gives this one a gold star? Oh, okay. So it's definitely 95%. So new exception helper. Let's have a look at this one. Now this is our traditional message, which we've seen a lot. We've got an error here. It says, well, we've got a format exception. So there's not a lot of help here. I'm going to hazard a guess that somebody, some intern, you know when interns come into Microsoft, if you ever see they're all full of enthusiasm, they're looking at all this data, they're doing stuff. I reckon that some intern looked at this dialog and goes to one of the managers, did you know I've been looking through all the stats and no developer in history has ever clicked on any of these troubleshooting tips? So it is a busy form. I didn't really think about it until I saw the new one. And it reminds me of somebody that said, I wrote a 12-page letter because I didn't have time to write a one-page letter. And so if you look at the new one, it's cleaner. And let's have a look at what's different about this. So you can see it's just showing the error. If we go back in time, probably the most common thing people would do is they'd look at the error and then they'd copy the exception detail to the clipboard and then they'd go to Stack Overflow and paste it and see what the error is. So this is the new one. So they still have the copy button, so they can copy the error and go to Stack Overflow. But then they can drop into these and they say, look, I don't want to know when I'm getting errors on some Telerik DLL. I can't do anything about that. I want it just for my DLL, so etc. So you can do that. This is my suggestion. Search Stack Overflow. That's all I want, one button. Did anyone see my, my tweet and Facebook on that? Okay. So I put this thing up on user voice. And here it is. If you have a look there, I only had one vote, myself. And now I have 40. So I've tweeted that. So go to my Twitter account, find that thing, @AdamKogan, click on that, and then vote. Give it a vote. So we get our Stack Overflow. All right. Cool. Okay. So in summary, that dialog is now cleaner. You can add conditions in there, and you drop in certain DLLs. And I am going to say that I think they've done a pretty good job there. Who gives that one a gold star? Oh, everyone. Okay, great. Popular one. So here is our null reference message. Object not set to an instance of an object. We drop in here and it says object reference not set to an instance of an object. You look at going, now we've got to start debugging and work out what happened. What is the problem? Now, you feel like that. Now in 2017, have a look at this error. It's a cleaner error and it bolds Baz so you know exactly what's going on. So I think if that's pretty clean, you know what is the actual error, where the problem is, and so we can okay. So I think it should make most of you happy. All right, so that is this better null pointer exception, 2,600 votes. All right, so I consider that done. Who gives that one a gold star?
Standing ovation.
Oh, standing ovations. Whoa! Never had a standing ovation before. Yes, some people might call that a bug fix. That would be cruel. Okay, so let's go debug, attach to process. We click on attach to process. How many people bother doing, who does this? So it affects, over half the room. Okay. So attaching to a remote process, we come in here, we click on the one we want. What do we want? We would want an IS one. Now, can anyone notice a difference? There we go. There's our difference. We've got a filter box. Now, I don't know how they did this dialog without that in the first place. Gee, I couldn't imagine doing that for our clients, but anyway, they did it. So now you type IIS, you drop down to the one you want, and then you click attach and you're good to go. Now, so we can quickly narrow it down. We have a suggestion to Microsoft. The suggestion is auto-filter that box based on the project type that you're in. If it's web, filter down to IIS Express. If it's Windows, look at the startup project's output settings and filter down to that. That's what I think would be useful. Maybe next version. So, reattach. Do you remember reattaching? When you reattach to the process, it seems to be kind of forgetful. So you click on reattach and then you have to go through the steps again. In 2015 it had Alzheimer's. In 2017 it remembers and you can just reattach. So that should be good. How many people care about that and give that a gold star? Just a few, so not even quarter of the room. So they're all right. They shouldn't have done that one. Okay, go to all. Now, this is just trying to find code in a large solution. In 2001, we got the ability to do Control F and scroll down scroll down the Solution Explorer forever. Then we got ReSharper and we can use Control T and we go to wherever we want. 2013, they tried to make this better. Control apostrophe, and we could do the Solution Explorer search. So we got it like this. So you could type timesheet in our timesheeting solution and you could see where it was used. Some people didn't like this because it was still verbose and there's a big tree and you still scroll looking. So it was kind of noisy. I didn't think it was bad, but so it filters the Solution Explorer. It finds files or classes or properties or methods, okay? Not interfaces. There's lots of scrolling involved. 2015, things got a bit nicer. We got this with lots of little icons and bolding. So it finds files, classes, properties, methods. 2017, what do we get now? What's improved? So we've got this. And do you notice anything different? Yes, we've got filter buttons at the bottom. So we can use Control T or Control comma. It finds all these guys, but you can filter. Just like the Intellisense allows you to filter, you can filter here. So I think that's kind of nicer. So we also, if you do something like this, where you go, Control G, go to line 23 or whatever it is, it will pop open that same dialog and you can go here. Now be aware, you can type M for members and T for types, etc. And we've got this filtering, and so that's nice. So anyway, there's some of those changes. There's quite a few more, but there's some of those changes. How many people like that and give that a gold star? Okay, so almost 2/3. So that's more popular. Okay, so better find all references. Let's look at find all references. Okay, so we've got, let's just say we're looking for gamification enabled for user. So we've got this interface. Now the old school way, we'd go Control-Shift-F. And we look for this and we press find all and we get this nice black and white thing down there. First time you use it, you don't even know you can double click on it, etc. So in 2015, things got better. We could go find all references, click on that guy, and we got this like tree structure. It looked a bit nicer than the old way. So it's a glorified Control-Shift-F. In 2017, things have improved to this. So now we get it like this. So we get, what do we get? We get a hierarchical menu nesting. We get lots of highlighting, which we didn't get before, and we get this hovering experience. So more readable grouping, syntax highlighting, and hover. Much nicer, I think. So in 2013, we got CodeLens, and that was another way to find all references. So you could click over here, and it's like you could see where it was being used, and I think that was good. So we've got all that. Now, I want to show you CodeLens gets much better. So, by the way, does anybody turn CodeLens off? Anyone?
Yeah.
One person, because performance reasons. I think you'll find they're unsubstantiated because we've been through this a couple of times and it wasn't CodeLens. So I'm not sure if you've measured it, but it's similar. It's when things are slow, what else is there? And some of this eye candy stuff you see, that must be expensive because it feels. But yeah, so we've done investigations and it hasn't been this. Just like I believe it's not usually ReSharper. Anyway, let's go through this. I want people to see live bugs and issues. How many people here are using application insights? Just a couple. All right. How many people here are using New Relic? New Relic? One, the American. Okay. How many people here are using Raygun? No one. Okay, well, I have a new goal for the end of the session. All right. So Raygun is, so many years ago at SSW we developed this little app that we gave away. It was just a DLL logger that caught unhandled exceptions, and it was called Ladylog. And basically you put it in your Windows app or your web app and it would log it up to our service. These guys, well, Application Insights does that, New Relic does it, but Raygun, this little company from New Zealand, I know they're Kiwis, you'd be very proud of it, but awesome. We use it in almost all projects we do at SSW. It's really good and our clients love it. It gives you great insights. So this hyperlink and I go, oh, I know what that's going to do. That's going to take me off to App Insights. Well, it doesn't. So you click on one of these guys and it takes you into, so it keeps you in context of Visual Studio, okay? Of course you can go off to the portal if you prefer, but that's how it works. And so you can see those 4 requests, there they are, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can have that on test or staging or production. So there's your timeline of events. So, and then you can click down in here and maybe click on one of these details, and then when you click on one of the details, you get details of that actual request itself. So there it is. All pretty cool. So let's go back. Even more important is when there's an error. So you get an error and you go, hello, this is my code I'm working on right now, but this method is giving grief in production. I think that is great. So we click on that and you go, what's this error? Click on that, you click on this, you go, whoa, what's that? And then you look at the details of the event, and there we've got a lot of insights. Now obviously you'd care about that if there's a few hundred in the last, the last short period of time. So CodeLens. So my first thought is, what have Microsoft done here? Have they made something that's extensible or not? So I emailed the Kiwis and I said, hey Mr. Raygun, and his name's JD, and I said, do you know about this feature? And they said, no, what is it? So I said, it's new in the beta. They go, really? And so, get a load of this. I reckon there's not much to do in New Zealand, but they've given us lots of areas in just the debugging experience of Visual Studio where it's the strongest already. You don't have to hit F10 all the time. You've got a nicer exception helper, better ways to navigate through your code, which I showed you, and you get more insight into production issues and errors and stuff. This was a very popular request. They wanted to use Chrome. So in VS Code, we got this. If we wanted to debug, you could just come in here into the extensions of VS Code and type in debugger, find this debugger for Chrome, and you're in business. So for example, you'd put a breakpoint, you'd run it, the browser would pop open, you click on a button, you're trying to investigate. Over here you would set use the watch variables, there, have a look at the call stack, switch to another line, maybe restart over here or restart over here and continue on the process. So that was kind of how that worked. That was pretty cool. Now, what about Visual Studio? What's the story with Visual Studio? Well, in 2017, it's now built in. So you do need a couple of things. Well, you don't need to do anything, but you need to be aware of what happens. How many people give that feature a gold star? Okay, all right, so almost everyone. Live unit tests. Let's talk about live unit tests. Unit testing has come a long way. Before, we had NUnit, and we had to manually run it. We've been doing this even since the XE days, where we would include this run unit test in the help menu, and we'd include our DLL, and people could run it on their actual XEs, and then we did that in the web as well. In 2005, we got MS Test. We got this ugly UI, and not a lot of people were writing tests. Even now, not a lot of people are writing tests. In 2010, we got Test Manager, which was a great way of unifying our test team and our dev team in large companies. We had a lot of success with that. And we also didn't have success when the testers would give us these automated tests that they'd recorded with the coded UI tests, and then they'd got us to put that in our project. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but they were so fragile and useless. Anyway, in 2012, we got Test Explorer. So a much cleaner UI, less grid lines and easier to see errors and stuff, so that was nicer. And we got exploratory testing. How many people do exploratory testing? No, nobody. I am going to quickly tell you something. Microsoft have invested a bit of effort in this. It is a tool, it used to be in the test manager, now it's just a beautiful, sweet Chrome extension. And I did an interview with the main guy, his name's Ravi Shankar, and then I did another one with him just a couple months ago, and that is him there. And he's basically done, it is impossible to do a bad bug, it's impossible to have your testers do a bad bug report if they use this. You can go straight into TFS2, so great, or visualstudio.com. So anyway, in 2013 we've got CodeLens. So when we're looking at a method, we can see if there's a failure. See the little red cross? We know. We got test charts. We got better visibility into unit tests. 2015, we got these smart unit tests. And many of the guys in our company tried to run these. They created them. Some of them tried to check them into their projects, and that caused a whole lot of kerfuffles. They are hard to get going, but for the guys that can work around their limitations, these are like the ultimate tests. Like you write your code, you run this, and it smashes your method with every bounds check out there, and it's pretty compelling. That's it, trying with nulls and out of range exceptions and stuff. So it's pretty cool. 2017, we get a brand new thing called live unit tests. So how do you run this? You come up to the test menu, click test, live unit testing, start. And when you start, what appears? These things, blue bars, weird. So then you hover over those guys and you click on that and go, oh, I need some tests. So you come in, you right click on your method and you go, let's come down here, create unit tests, and then you create your unit tests. You need to select what unit testing framework you're going to use. Are you going to use MS Test or MS Test 2? They've just open sourced to GitHub. Or you're going to use XUnit or NUnit. Who goes NUnit? Few. Who goes XUnit? One. Who goes MS Test? Most of the room. All right. I'm going to tell you, MS Test is the only one you shouldn't use. Okay? I would probably, like most of my colleagues use NUnit, but I would probably say the way forward is probably XUnit, because XUnit is out of the box with .NET Core. It's probably the better way to go. MS Test hasn't been improved for a long time. Okay, so anyway, let's go forward. Now, we decide we add some, there's our code, everything's rosy. What do we need to do? So we write the unit test and everything's green. That's the experience. So this is our code. Let me just go back. We write our unit test, and now all our code, remember it was showing blue bars, now it's showing green ticks. So now we need to modify some code. This code doesn't work for Australia. Australia, you have to add GST, so we'll need to add GST. So what do? Well, we'll add a line of code into here. There's our line of code we've added. Quantity times price times 10%. Okay? And now we have a blue bar. Bugger. So I'll go and fix the test. So when I look at the test is now failing. So the test is failing because it doesn't equal the code that was just written. So what do? Well, we'll add this tax rate stuff in. So we'll add 10% in. Everything's failing, left, right, and center. But we have 100. Let's pretend that we don't fix this. Let's pretend that we ignore this. And pretend we have a test that's broken. Okay, so you can see that equals 200, where it should be 220, 10% tax. So we'll leave that. We'll go back to our code. What does our code look like? Our code looks like this. We see some crosses. We go, crosses? What's going on here? So you click on that. You go, okay. So then you click on that and it'll take you into the code, into the test. Now we're in the test. We need to go forward and fix up the test, which we will. We'll change that to 220. So our test is now working. We go back to the code and everything's rosy again. So that's kind of the experience. If anybody ever used or heard of nCrunch? One soul. Okay, 2 souls. Okay, anyway, it's very similar to that. It's amazing how Microsoft come up with some of those same ideas years later. But anyway, they do. All right. So, and new code is covered. Great, beautiful. That's live unit test. Now Visual Studio, you can see the tests in your code. Red, green refactor is a good way of working. Now it's easy to work like that. There's less excuses for writing unit tests. I'm sure developers will come up with some new excuses that it takes too much time or there's no visibility or something. Anyway, so we've got this rule about using live unit tests in our rules to better unit tests, so you can have a look at that as well. All right, how many people, this wasn't a request by the way, but how many people give that a gold star? Think that's a good feature they want? So 3/4. The other guys are never going to write unit tests. Yeah, I know. All right, fair enough. So this is what they've got to do. What they should do to impress some of you is say, hey, this isn't covered by tests. How about I write the test for you? Would that be good? No, that would be bad. That sounds like PECs. But this is what I consider. It's like this. See, this is the Tesla. This is what live unit test is like. As you're coding away, before you see a problem, it starts warning you there's about to be a crash. Isn't that amazing? The Tesla did that. I can tell you, it's lightning fast. Do you want to see that again? Here we go. Oh, so you're driving along. It can see a crash is happening up ahead because it looks at cars in front of you. It can see all the cars. It's amazing. Yeah. He's looking at the other detail. All right. So anyway, it's a bit of a stretch, but live unit test is very much like that feature. Okay. All right. Let's go into code styling. Now, this is one I particularly liked. Some of the guys in the office didn't like this as much. But how do you enforce rules? Now, we have invested a fair bit of effort. So I try to get style cop and code analysis on all our projects. And every check-in, I'm always trying to ask the guys to ratchet it up so it gets tighter. We have built our own little tool called Code Auditor as well. So as an example, this is what adults are excellent. So anyway, I've seen many arguments not dissimilar to that. So in 2015, we had this spaces or tabs. In 2017, we can create a .editor config file. I think this is cool. You can write some rules in there, commit it into the solution, and it doesn't matter what the developer set, it's ignored, and it follows this. So you go in here, you go text file, .editor.config, press add, there we go, and you come in here and you go instant style will be tabs, and everyone's going to be using tabs or spaces. And in fact, you can add a whole lot of settings here. If you look, there's heaps of these, and if this is an open standard, this works in all tab text editors. It's editorconfig.org, an open standard. So there's lots, okay? So you've got all that. Who thinks that's a cool feature? Gives that a gold star. 2/3 of the room. All right. So the last bits. Let's just do the last stretch as quickly as we can. C# language extensions. I always find this interesting. You see C#, like all the conversations I have with Angular and React and VB, look at they have just overtaken VB at this point. Now obviously don't forget you got meant to change that to programming. And here, look, they're so far away from C#, like it's such a monster. Anyway, last year we have a video up on SSW TV with all the C#6 features. In C#7 there's heaps of them. I'm just going to choose a couple. Tuples, which one is it? Tuples. Anyway, so you come here, here's the problem in 2015. A new tuple, we have to define, it's a string, decimal, boolean. There's the different types. Like, why do we have to define it when it's pretty easy to infer what it is? Anyway, so the other problem is down here. When we start using them, we have to go .item1, .item3. Like, that's ugly, isn't it? So they've improved things. So, you know, you have to declare the type for each one, and the compiler should be able to work it out, like var, and the items have no context, what's item 1 and what's item 2. So, 2017, now we don't actually have to define it. We can just say A A is a string, that's a number, that's a Boolean. But the problem is down here, we still get this dot item 1, dot item 3, etc. So semi-solved. That said, they also have this. So you can actually go up and name colon, order total, is VIP, and now when you're using it, you can go dot name, dot is VIP, dot order total. So in summary, that's a named item declaration, and now the items have meaning. Cool. So we also have this. I don't know, this is probably incremental, but see how we've got int I? It's outside our if block. It's got no meaning outside that, but we have to define it outside. So people don't like doing that bit there. So this is a request. So now what we can do, so we can come in here and we can go out var I just within here. It's got no meaning outside, so it's not used outside, it's just in this scope here. And it's also, you can use it in the else and stuff. All right, so that if only exists within this if block. If else, etc. Now, one of the things you'll notice, which I think is really cool, if you do it outside, the little light box will pop open and say, hey, do you want to do it the cool way? So that's nice. And I think a lot more of this will come. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention, you can suppress it if you don't want to. Okay. So let's look at another feature. We have a class bird and a class magpie inheriting from bird, and another one called budgie. And they have is swooping session. Now here's the thing. Now here's our base class. There's a derived class, and there's another derived class with different properties. So how would you use that? Well, we have to do all this checking. If the bird is not null, then do this. If the bird is a magpie, then we can do this. And so we're doing a lot of checking, a lot of if statements here. We're casting the bird to a magpie here, etc., so that we can use this. Now, then that goes on and on and on, and obviously if it gets complicated, you've got a lot of that. So there's a lot of casting. In 2017, we can now use the switch statement. So if you look closely, it's a bit neater. If the magpie, when using this swooping session, okay, so now we can do the type check, create a local variable, and all used within this case statement. So I think that's substantially neater. I don't know whether you guys will care for it. How many people think this is useful? Okay, all right, cool. So more than 2/3, great. So there's lots of that. I haven't shown you much. There's also some quick refactoring tools, but if you remember, we got lots of C#6 enhancements, and it wasn't until update 2 of 2015 where all those features started coming through and saying, hey, use this, use that, all the helping stuff. So I think all those refactoring tools will get better and better with each update. So I just want to call this out. This is just news because I've been encouraging Microsoft to give us a wiki for a while. This has nothing to do with Visual Studio itself, but we have been lacking a decent wiki. If you use Jira tools, they have Confluence. It's a nice wiki. We did have a wiki in SharePoint, but they kind of decommissioned. Well, they kind of backed that out. I personally believe that this is the job of the Office team to give us a wiki. It's or of the SharePoint team, one of them. It's a problem, but what we now have, Microsoft have just bought Wiki from Agile Extensions. When I say Microsoft, I should be clear, the div team, the visualstudio.com team bought it. It was an extension, so they bought it and they put it under their own. Here we go. You can see, you can go and install this, and here is our this is our Sugar Learning one. So you come in here and now you've got this wiki, and you can come through and make all your pages with Markdown. So I think that's a good approach. I think it's the wrong team personally, but at least we have it, and that's owned by Microsoft, so that's good. So what do they miss? Do they give us everything? Let's just go back. Support for web style transformations. That was there, it was a high priority one, they didn't give it to us. Add non-nullable reference types, they didn't give it to us. Bring Windows 10 universal apps, didn't give it to us. Enable XAML debugging, we didn't get that one either.